I think that entire series is overhyped. Harriet was just the most relatable character for me and consumed my thoughts for the next months. I feel like I couldn't read any other book the same. Like if someone said that to me, I would like not, I couldn't. Oh. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah. Now it's the end of the year and I've been seeing all of these different reflections on the books that everyone's read and everything like that. So this is one that I saw, I think Rachel Catherine post, and it's the end of year book tag. It's basically 22 questions reflecting on all of the books that you've read that year. And as of today, I have read, I think 53 books, past my goal of 50, which is great. So happy about that. This would be a good, fun thing to do just to reflect on all the books I did read this year. From most disappointing book all the way to books I would reread. Question 1 is most disappointing book of the year. I think for that one, I'm gonna say A Court of Frost and Starlight. This is actually a novella of the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. I'm counting it because it is like over 200 pages, but it's like a novella. I don't know, I just had such high hopes because I loved the series so much. I like ripped through all 3 of the books, but I really didn't like it. I think it was a combination of things, the most being that it completely put me in a book slump for the series. And not just for the series, but for like a lot of books. I have refrained from reading A Court of Silver Flames because this book just slumped me out so hard. People describe it as like a Christmas episode for the ACOTAR series, which I guess I can get. And I think another part of it that was disappointing is that I read it in July, which was like peak summertime, and everyone was talking about like winter and Christmas in this book, so it's like it didn't really get me as much. That was the book that was most disappointing because I really loved the series and it just, I have not even remotely wanted to read A Court of Silver Flames after reading this book. I think it's skippable, honestly. The next question is Underdog Book of the Year. I guess I'm gonna take this as a book that wasn't as hyped up as a lot of other books, but I really enjoyed. For that one, I chose Kingdom of the Feared by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the 3rd book in the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy, and I feel like the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy is such an underdog trilogy. This is such a good story. The whole trilogy, I loved it, and I especially loved this book. I could not put it down. I loved it so much, and I just don't hear people talking about it that much. I didn't go into the series expecting I was gonna find like one of my favorite books of the year, but I did. I can't really tell you that much what it's about because it is the 3rd book in the trilogy, so it's kind of spoiling a lot. I talked about it in another vlog. Everything that you thought it was gonna be completely became so much more, and it just made me enjoy the story so much more and the characters, and I loved it so much. So that's my underdog book of the year. The 3rd question is a book that was overhyped, Throttled, by Lauren Asher. It's the 1st book in the Dirty Air series. Honestly, I think that entire series is overhyped. I am gonna finish it. I already just finished the 3rd book and there's only one more book left, so I'm just gonna finish it. But Throttled is the 1st book, and I feel like Lauren Asher was so popular this year because of her Dreamland Billionaire series, which I really liked. And I read Throttled and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Like, I think I gave it like 3 stars, maybe like 2.75 even. It was just all physical. From the get-go, the relationship was just all that when you had Noah's point of view, and even sometimes Maya's. There just wasn't that much more to the characters, and it didn't make me care that much about the relationship as I think I was supposed to. They were just always talking about how like they're so physically attracted to each other, which is fine, and like they had like 1 or 2 moments of sincerity, which was like not enough for me to like this couple or this book. There was something about the writing that felt Wattpad-y to me, which is like, who am I to judge, but also like that's just based on some of the other books I read. 4th question is favorite book couple. I have 2. I immediately thought of Xaden and Violet from 4th Wing. I haven't read Iron Flame yet. That is coming in a video hopefully this month. I did a whole reading vlog on me reading this book. I completely understand the hype with this book. It was so good, and I loved Xaden and Violet. The enemies to lovers and the addition of the dragons and like their bond made it so much more enjoyable for me, and just I love the couple so much. I loved their back and forth. I loved Xaden as a character and I loved Violet as a character, and I feel like that is like the recipe for me loving them as a couple. Plus the good enemies to lovers. So that is Xaden and Violet. That is my first chosen book couple that I love so much. And I am scared because I have heard some people say that in Iron Flame, it's just like not what it was in Fourth Wing, and that scares me because I love them so much. And then the second couple that I chose is Macy and Elliot from Love in Other Words. It was like a friends to lovers to strangers to lovers again. That was the trope. I just loved everything about their cute little relationship with their cute little library that they always read with each other in, and they just grew up with each other. I love their relationship. Their little back and forth is fun because they're friends first, and it's just like they learned everything with each other, and you find out that even in the end they never stop thinking about each other, and it's just so wholesome and I love it. The fifth question is favorite main character. I immediately thought of Happy Place. Harriet was just the most relatable character for me. I feel like everything that she was thinking I completely understood. I just related to her so much as a character. Her and her friend group, how she treated her friends and everything like that. And of course, I loved her and Win together. She's just really relatable to me. I do love her as my favorite main character. A book that surprised you. Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was such a happy surprise for me this year. I just picked it up like on a whim because I had heard about it. It like became so much more and consumed my thoughts for the next months. It was my favorite show. It was my favorite songs on the album. It was my favorite book. It was my favorite couple. It was just my favorite quotes. Like everything about this book I loved, and I just did not expect that going into it. I thought it was just gonna be like, oh, it's about like a rock band, like cute. It was just so much more. And I rewatched the series already. I've been listening to the music nonstop. I think on my Spotify Wrapped, Honeycomb, that was like my third most played song this entire year. I loved everything about this book. The way it was portrayed in the TV show was just amazing too, and the music, so my camera died. Next question is a new favorite author you discovered in 2023. We all know where this is going. Miss Jessa Hastings, the author of the Magnolia Parks universe. I read these two and I am just finishing up reading Long Way Home. I'm loving it, by the way. And then I'll have to read The Great Undoing. But Jessa Hastings is just like, when I started reading her books, I feel like I couldn't read any other book the same. The way she writes things is just so beautiful and lyrical and just like deep. It just makes me cry and feel just like all the emotions possible. And the fact that she can do that in every single one of her books that I have read by her is incredible. These are the books that, without fail, I know when I read them are gonna have some of my favorite quotes for all time. I just love her storytelling and her quotes and the way that she writes. I'm obsessed. So definitely new favorite author is Jessa Hastings. Next question, happiest read of the year. I immediately thought of Happy Place. The nostalgic summer feeling of going away with your friends and the tension between that like one who got away essentially just coming to a head and just seeing their resolution at the end was just beautiful to me. I was just happy. I was just happy reading this book. Happy Place made me happy. And it made me cry at some points, but overall it made me happy. I had a great time reading this book the entire time I was reading it. So happiest read of the year would be Happy Place. Most frustrating book of the year. Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. Again, it was frustrating to me because I didn't not like it. The characters were frustrating to me. Declan and Iris just frustrated me for like this much of the book. And then this book, they were like, okay, but for this much of the book, they frustrated the heck out of me. He was just overtly grumpy and rude and mean, and she just like would laugh it off and wouldn't call him out on it, and I was like, she frustrated me because I was like, she just laughed at everything, and it's like, that wasn't a good thing that he just said. Like, I'm offended, and it was so frustrating because it was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And he was just like rude and mean, and I was like, Iris, come on, do something, say something. And she would just laugh everything off until this point. Then it was like they came to a resolution. Frustrating couple. It'd be like a me problem because I would just not react the same way that Iris did to all those things. And I was like, why are you reacting this way? So that was the most frustrating read. Best adaptation of the year, Daisy Jones and the Six, and also The Summer I Turned Pretty. Both these, I talked about Daisy Jones and the Six. This TV show just made me enjoy the book 1,000 times better. I listened to the audiobook of this too, and that also made it 1,000 times better. And then watching the TV show made it so much better. And I love the adaptation. And I love the adaptation of the songs, like everything about this. Perfect. Also, The Summer I Turned Pretty. I hadn't read this book, and it was really popular like years ago when I was in high school, and I never got around to reading it. And then I watched the show and I was like, oh my god, I need to read the entire series. And I did. I then bought and read the entire series in like a month. Their whole relationship of the friend group, like Belly, Jeremiah, Conrad, Steven, and Taylor. I just love that whole friend group. I feel like it was portrayed so well as like high schoolers, how they would react if this was like a real situation. We have longest book you read this year. Forever and Ever is 561 pages. Lucy's Scorebook, I should have known. All her books are insanely long for romances. I read this in the Mackinac Island vlog, which this takes place in Mackinac Island, and I actually went on a trip to Mackinac Island this year, and I read it while I was there and showed like all the places in it, which is really cool. 61 pages? That's just a lot. It could have really been shortened to like 400 pages. But yeah, Forever and Ever. It was good, and I think I gave it like 3-ish stars. The shortest book you read this year, and I just know that it's gonna be a novella. So this is a book with 2 novellas from the Shatter Me series. Fracture Me is the shortest book that I read this year. It's 66 pages, and it's a novella. I don't even know if that counts, but it was basically from Adam's point of view. So it was a novella to a character that I don't really like. So I read it for the story, but I didn't read it because I liked it. Favorite book covers? First of all, every single one of the Magnolia Parks books. I mean, these are 3 of them. This one is beautiful. Daisy Hates is beautiful. The Great Undoing. I cannot wait to read this book, but it is also beautiful with the pond in the back and the tattoos. And the most beautiful book is, I think I said this in another tag video, but the book that I'm currently almost finished with, Magnolia Parks, A Long Way Home. Just everything about this book, all the little details, every single one of these pictures means something once you read the book, and it's just beautiful. A book you haven't stopped thinking about. Fourth Wing. I have not stopped thinking about this book. I don't know what Rebecca Yarros put in this book, but I have not stopped thinking about it. I still watch edits of it, and I finished it like months ago. I think about the dragons, I think about Xaden and Violet, I think about Xaden, think about what's gonna happen in the next book, I think about what was revealed in the end of this book, I think about the college, think about what it would be like to go to that college. This has still consuming my thoughts, and I cannot stop thinking about this whole world. So, cringiest book you read this year. This is a weird word. I don't love this word. I said Throttled. Throttled was so cringy to me. Like I said, it was just so Wattpad-y. Noah and Maya, they were just, I don't know. Their relationship I didn't love, and I cringe thinking about some of the lines in that book. Like, I literally listened to the audiobook, and there were parts where I visibly cringed. In my car, I was like, like, that's so mean, but there were. Because I'm just like, oh my god, it's just so cringy. Like, if someone said that to me, I would like I couldn't. I would just laugh my head off. I could not. Unpopular book that you loved. Scarred by Emily McIntyre. I feel like there are some other unpopular books that I read that I really love, but Scarred in particular, people know about the Never After series, but I feel like I don't hear them talking about Scarred as much. And I am obsessed with this book. Like, look at all of these quotes that I found in this book. I feel like this deserved just so much more hype. This is like a 5-6 star read for me. I loved everything about it. I loved the characters. I loved the retelling. I don't love Lion King, which is funny because this is like a dark reimagining of The Lion King, but I loved it so much, and I feel like everyone needs to read this book. The writing in here is almost Magnolia level. Like, it hasn't reached Magnolia level, but it is almost there. Like, the writing in here, just read it. Read it. Highest and lowest rated book you read on Goodreads, and if you agree or not. The highest rated book is 4.63. That is Fourth Wing, The Empyrean. And yes, I completely agree. This is like a 5-6 infinity star read for me, so I definitely agree with the high rating. The lowest rated book that I read this year, well, it was Fracture Me, which is the book that I said was the shortest book I read. So I'm not gonna count that one because that's a novella. Oh, The Atlas 6. The Atlas 6 has 3.63 stars. That's the lowest rated book that I read this year. Really? This one has 3.63 stars. I gave it 4.25 stars. This is the lowest rated book? That's crazy to me. I loved this book. I don't agree with that one. I think this book deserves a higher rating. I think it was so clever and just what Olivia Blake had to research to make this make sense. So no, I don't agree with that one. I think that this deserves a higher rating than like a 3.6. So, yeah. But still, I feel like that means I read some pretty good books because 3.6 really isn't that bad. Favorite quotes of the year. Oh my god. I need my reading journal. I write all my quotes in here, and we are going to be here forever if I read you all my favorite quotes. But I'm just going to go through. First is Magnolia Parks, of course, which has many pages of typed quotes in my reading journal dedicated to Magnolia Parks. I think if we all could have peeked behind heaven's curtains at that moment, we'd have seen those old fates knotting our threads together, me and Beach, in this pure, sunny, inexorable, undoable way. Oh my god, and then this one, I have to read this one. How many loves you get in a lifetime? How many people will look at me like he does? Not just like I'm the sun, but like I'm the whole universe. And then I remember it like a physical punch in the gut, how much I loved him, really loved him, to the bone loved him, cut me and I'd bleed him. I'm getting chills, I'm literally getting chills. How much I needed him, still needed him, would forever, always, never, couldn't, even if I tried, needed him. That literally gave me chills, like, ugh, it's beautiful. Oh my god. Yes, I yell, and it feels like a thunderclap. Echoes through the ancient mountains around us, and the Greek philosophers who wax lyrical about true love and soulmates roll in their graves as I try for the billionth time to sever myself from mine. Everything about this book, everything. I could read all of these quotes, and honestly, we could be here all day. Okay, last one from Magnolia Parks, and then we will move on. The problem with me and Parks is I think we love each other more than ourselves. And if I loved myself more than I love her, I would have cut the ties between us as soon as she started to strangle me with them. If I loved me more, I would have let me drift away into the dark out of her light, but I didn't. And I couldn't and I won't, because when it comes to her, I have zero instinct for self-preservation. I'll die in her arms or at her doorstep trying to get back into them. Oh my god, I can't. Okay, we have to move on because I'll be here all day. I could go through all the Magnolia books and Daisy Hayes' book, but I'm not because we will be there all day. But we are going to take some from Happy Place because this has some really good quotes in it too. Everything is changing, it has to. You can't stop time. All you can do is point yourself in a direction and hope the wind will let you get there. I mean, you have the weirdest laugh of anyone I've ever met, Harriet, and it feels like taking a shot of tequila every time I hear it. Like I could get drunk on the sound of you or hungover when I go too long without you. Even if it's not real, a part of me wants to pretend I have you, but another part thinks I'll die if you don't tell me you love me, even if it doesn't change anything, even if it's just getting to hear it one more time. Everything's different and nothing's changed. I still feel like you're mine and I'm yours. I got rid of every single piece of you like that would make a difference, like I could cut you out of me. And instead, I just see you everywhere you're supposed to be. Do you want me to promise I'll love you forever, Harriet? He whispers, because I will. The only way I can bear loving anyone this much is knowing it will never turn to poison. Knowing we'll give each other up before we can destroy each other. I'm not going to stop fighting for you, Harriet. I'm not going to stop loving you. Book with the most unique concept. And for this, I put 2. So first is Divine Rivals, and the second is Hidden Pictures, which I read on my Kindles. First is Divine Rivals. I really like this book too. This is a very popular book. It wasn't as amazing to me as I feel like it was for some people, but I did really like it. This concept is very unique because it's a love story. It also has like a plot of the gods being a big part of the world in this and magic being a part of it, and the whole typewriters. I feel like it was such a cool thing how the typewriters come into play. I'm not going to say any more than that, but I feel like that is just like a very cool concept to me. Also, like them both working at the paper and then going on to the war front, and then I feel like that is a very unique concept because it's like almost historical, but it's not. It's not historical at all because it's fiction, but it's like almost written historically, but it's also a love story, and it has magic in it. So Hidden Pictures is by Jason Rekulak, and it's kind of like a mystery thriller book. Basically, this girl who's a recovering drug addict, she ends up being a nanny for this little boy who is drawing really disturbing pictures, and no one knows why he's drawing really disturbing pictures, but they are like scary, they're creepy. It unravels this whole story of the mystery, and it was very cool. I really like that one. So highly recommend Hidden Pictures. Definitely love the twist at the end too. Book you would reread. I want to reread Fourth Wing. Yes, I do. I will reread that. I want to reread Happy Place in the summertime because it is just like a nostalgic feeling as well, and I love it. I read the Moral Instruments series in high school, and then I bought the entire box set because they're having a sale on Black Friday. But I feel like it's recently got like a resurgence in popularity, and I want to reread these again. I was obsessed with this series in high school, and I just feel like the Shadowhunters, I love the Shadowhunters world, so I definitely will be rereading this as well in the new year. Reading goal reflection and 2024 reading goal. So as I said, I read 53 of my reading goal of 50 books, so I have officially surpassed my reading goal, which I am so happy about. Like, I ever read 50 books in a year, and the fact that I read 53 books in a year, I'm very happy about that. Very happy that I got back into reading this year. I love it. I want to challenge myself and see if I can read 70 books in next year. Watching my home library build also this year was just so cool, and it definitely will be building again. So I am very thankful for that, and I want to try if I can read 70 books next year. Last question. What are you prioritizing in 2024 with your reading? I would like to read outside my house more. I definitely have like a very cozy home. I love my home. This is my comfort zone, but I would like to try and read outside at like a coffee shop or in the park or on the beach more. I feel like if you have the perfect book and you're in the perfect setting, there's just no topping it. So that's my goal for next year, is I want to read out more out that side of my house. But that is the end of year book tag. If you actually watched it all the way to the end, thank you so much, because this is probably a hugely long video. So thank you, and I appreciate you. It was a lot of fun to reflect on my whole entire reading for this year. I feel like I really got very much back into my reading era. Yeah, I'm just so thankful for that, and I'm thankful for all the amazing books I read this year and all the amazing books I still will read next year. So yeah, that's gonna be all from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.